How do you pronounce this? Cerveza or cerveza?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming by. Now, this week's topic is about accents. There are two aspects here. For example, I'm British. I grew up in Wolverhampton, and I have an accent from Wolverhampton. So we speak like this when we're talking between ourselves, you know what I mean? Perhaps if I moved to Glasgow, I would lose that accent, and if I spent time there, I would begin to speak with a Glaswegian accent, or a mix between my original accent and a Glaswegian accent. Please do not ask me to imitate a Glaswegian accent. Right now, the accent I'm using as I speak to you isn't a Wolverhampton accent. I've lost it because I moved away from Wolverhampton and the West Midlands 30 years ago, and my voice has changed over time, especially as I now live in a very accent neutral atmosphere as an English teacher. I lost my accent. I didn't do it on purpose, it just happened. And the second aspect really is when you're learning a foreign language. As you learn a language, you hope to learn the accent that people have around you. But that doesn't always happen. Some people never pick up that accent, or very little, and other people, boom, seem to pick up that accent straight away and sound like a local when they speak that language. I think I'm somewhere in between. And this brings us to an interesting point. When I speak Spanish, you can tell that I'm not Spanish. Maybe you don't know I'm British, but I'm definitely not German when I speak Spanish. However, it's also obvious that I haven't learned Spanish in Andalusia or the Canary Islands or in Argentina. It's pretty obvious that I've learned Spanish in the north of Spain. And sometimes people like myself who've gone abroad and learnt a foreign language in their new home get criticised for not having the local accent when they speak the local language. And I think that's a bit unfair, because it's, we try very hard to learn the language. As adults, it's not like when you learn a language as a child. It's very different. So, what's your accent like when you speak English? Are you happy with it? Do you think you could improve it? I read a really interesting article recently which tried to find out why some people are better at picking up that accent in that language wherever they are. Part of it is if you have a musical ear, but there are many other factors. Let's find out more. Oh, before we go on to the article, just a quick word for this week's sponsor, Ausarta. Well, they're not a sponsor, but here I am almost every week recording videos sitting on their terrace. They're very kind, they don't mind. So if you're ever in Vitoria-Gasteiz or you live here, then come and visit the Ausarta. It's at the top of the hill, right in front of the old cathedral. It's a beautiful place to have a coffee. They have great pinchos, and you can have a nice lunch here too. Why are some people good at acquiring accents? Have you ever wondered why some people seemingly pick up an accent without any effort, while others can live in a foreign country for decades but never lose their native accent and have difficulties pronouncing some words in the local language? Whether you are trying to master a new language or simply moving to a region with a different local dialect, the way your accent behaves is not just a matter of willpower. It is a fascinating mix of neuroscience, psychology, and personal identity. Pronunciation and accent may seem to be the same thing, but pronunciation is the ability to produce the specific sounds, stress, and intonation of a language, focusing on clarity and intelligibility, while accent refers to the distinctive rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation patterns that indicate a speaker's regional, social, or native language background. Pronunciation, regardless of accent, is key for clear communication. Linguists and neuroscientists generally divide speakers into three main groups based on how adaptable their speech patterns are. The anchored speakers, keeping the original tone. Some individuals maintain their original accent permanently, no matter where they move or what language they speak. The primary scientific explanation for this is the critical period hypothesis. During childhood, human brains possess intense neuroplasticity, the ability to easily reconfigure neural circuits to absorb environmental data. But over time, our auditory systems undergo perceptual narrowing, which sharpens our brain sensitivity to native speech sounds while weakening our ability to process non-native sounds. Once this biological window closes around puberty, the neural networks controlling speech motor commands become deeply entrenched. For anchored speakers, these first language motor patterns act as a rigid filter. Imagine a British adult moving to northern Spain. In the north, locals speak with distinción, making a crisp difference between the S sound and the soft C or Z, like the English th. Think of the word cerveza. An anchored adult learner struggles to retune the neurological feedback signals required to move the larynx and tongue into these exact new positions. Instead, they will substitute these sounds with a heavy English S, saying cerveza, filtering Spanish through native British habits. Furthermore, keeping a native accent can be an unconscious way to maintain a connection to one's roots. The chameleons, the shifting accents. On the other end of the scale are the chameleons. These people pick up a good or native-like accent in record time and often find that their accent in their mother tongue will subconsciously change when they move between regions and even countries. What makes them different? Research shows that people with high speech imitation skills display less cortical effort, neurological strain, when processing foreign sounds. Studies link excellent accent mimicry to heightened musical and singing abilities, which give individuals highly accurate phonetic and prosodic rhythm and intonation representations of sounds. Additionally, these chameleons often possess a strong psychological drive to integrate and see mimicking pronunciation as an important part of the process. If our British adult were a phonetic chameleon, their pronunciation of beer in Spanish would depend on where they moved to in Spain. In the south, they would mimic the Andalusian seseo, pronouncing the C, Z and S all as S. Curiously, this sounds similar to how an anchored speaker would pronounce it incorrectly up north. A chameleon, however, would adapt their pronunciation if they move north. The hybrids, floating in the middle. The vast majority of language learners and regional movers sit comfortably in the middle. These hybrid speakers usually develop an accent that is a blend of both worlds. They might master the general vocabulary and grammar of a new region, but subtle elements of prosody, such as word stress and rhythm, remain influenced by their native tongue. In neuroscience, this is explained by a partial restructuring of the language network. While a hybrid British learner in Spain may never sound completely local, continuous immersion and focused practice allow them to establish alternative neural pathways for speech production. If they live in the north, they might successfully adopt the northern distinción for words like gracias and cerveza. But their sentence rhythm might still carry a distinctly British cadence. They achieve high clarity even if a subtle, charming hint of their origin remains. Ultimately, whether your accent is an anchor, a chameleon, or a hybrid blend, science proves it is a complex reflection of your unique brain structure, your musical ear, psychological motivations, and how you connect with the world around you. Chat about these questions and write down your opinions and ideas. Number 1. Describe the picture in as much detail as possible. How does pronunciation change in your country? Number 2. Is it better to learn a standard accent or a specific regional dialect? Are any accents better or worse? Number 3. Does your voice change automatically when speaking to different people? If so, try to explain why. Number 4. Does losing your original accent mean losing a part of your identity? Has it happened to you? Number 5. Which accents do you prefer or dislike in your own language and in other languages?